Joining me now is Terry Lynch, CEO of Power Nickel. Great to see you.
Great to be here, Mark.
So, high grade, low carbon NISC project in Quebec. And you've been, let's start there. Give us an overview of what you have.
Yeah, so we basically have acquired a project that had about 3.1 million tons of historical resource, about 1.6% nickel EQ. And then we confirmed it with 8 holes sort of about 18 months ago. Had some great intersections there. And then since then we've expanded, probably done another 13,000 meters of drilling. And we have had tremendous success with our assays, such that we're thinking that we'll be updating our 43-101 probably this summer, Q3, probably 8 to 10 million tons. That's enough to make us commercial. So we're, in every miner's life, you want to go from being just exploration to being commercial, because that's when you make the 0 to 1 jump in the valuation. So that's about to happen for us right now.
Very good. Now, just today, Terry, you put out a news release based on some drilling results, a new discovery.
Yeah, this was a blockbuster, really. I mean, I don't know, use that term loosely. 5 kilometers from our core deposit at the end of an ultramafic sequence that we're exploring, we drilled a winter target just 200 meters just to see that the ultramafic sequence was there, and we hit a massive discovery hole of almost an ounce of PGMs, so platinum and palladium, and 1.5% copper, and that's just a glory hole. So it was just fantastic to get it. And to see it so far away from our core deposit, which sort of makes us very excited about the ground in between, which we've flown airborne EM over, which looks highly exciting. So really raises the level of expectation, I would say, for NISC and what it could possibly deliver.
Very good. And then just last week, April 27th, put out another news release, and you said hole 23 delivered, ! And it was pretty as a picture. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the great thing about drilling nickel is when you're drilling it, you actually have a pretty good idea that you got something when you drill it, unlike gold. So I've never drilled for nickel before, so it's been fun to explore it that way. So we had a massive sulfide hit and several boxes of it, so you could take a picture of it and go say, there it is. And then in fact it delivered it. So we had, I think it was 16 meters of 1.6% nickel, so it's fantastic nickel results. And we've had 3 assays out, and the first one had like a 40 meter hole of 1.6%, the second one 10 meters of almost 3%, and then this one. So again, each step of the way we're defining our river of nickel, and it's a robust river and it's got lots of good juice in it.
On the financial side, you recently raised nearly $5 million. You said there's lots of demand to the point where you just shut it down. You could have taken more, correct?
Yeah, we basically we used an innovative structure, and it's called a charity flow-through buyback. Complicated, but not really. Basically, simple principle is Quebec-based high taxpayers buy the initial position for, in this case, 50 cents, and then they sell it back almost the next second to the back-end investors for 25 cents. And the first investor basically reduces his tax payable from, say, 54% to 42%. So they save 12%, and they're happy with that. The back-end investor gets 25 cents he puts in, but 50 cents is working for him. That makes them attractive. And obviously, if you're an existing shareholder, you're happy because you're diluting at a lot higher price. And the governments get what they want because you're getting money going into critical minerals. So we were able to use that, and we had a lot of demand for the back end. And we just, because it's early in the tax year, the front end was a little bit more of a difficult policy putting together. We could have kept it open and get more in, but we can raise at higher prices, we believe, going forward based on our news flow. So there was no incentive to stick around.
Speaking of taxes and tax credits, you were saying off air that you think the market's not quite aware that there's the potential for very substantial tax credits, Quebec, Canada, US, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, with the whole, 2030 initiatives to try and, the greening of the economy, as you would, that the governments, all over the world are, creating incentive structures to find the minerals that we need to power this new economy. So in this case, critical minerals have been defined, and includes nickel, includes lithium, of course, and cobalt, and the rare earth minerals, etc. And in the most recent federal budget and the most recent provincial budget in Quebec, neither of which yet approved, but highly expected since their governments are in power, the feds are going to give a 30% tax credit, and the province of Quebec is going to give up to 25% to build and equip a mine. So all of a sudden, in our case, a high-end nickel mine will probably cost $400 million US. So all of a sudden, maybe we got $200 million US is there for us. I mean, that's staggering sum. Our market cap is 25 million US. So it's like, wow. And that should have rippled through and made some impact in the stock. Hasn't even done for even some of the more advanced projects. I'm a shareholder of Critical Elements, which is a great hard rock lithium play. They're at a full feasibility study, about to be financed any day now. Well, it got a lot cheaper for them. That stock's come down too. It doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so in terms of the next couple of months, you said you're going to be busy. So sounds like investors can expect a certain amount of news flow. Tie that in with the way your company's being perceived right now, and what the market is getting and maybe not getting.
Yeah, so I think generally speaking, this is why one of the reasons why we came with Red Cloud is it's time to come out of the cloak and start to spread the word about what Power Nickel has done and what we're about to do. And so just to reach more investors. So part of that was on us. We focused our money on putting it in the ground and not so much on communication. Now we have to spend more money that way to, bridge the gap. So over the next couple of months, we've got another 2 sets of assays to come. We've told the market they're going to be good because, again, we're drilling nickel. We sort of have a very good idea of what that might be. So we've given them expectations of what the updated 43101 will be sometime in early Q3, and where that's going to be. We've got the airborne EM, which will show this whole future progress of where we might be drilling and what's happening there. We've got we're doing a very novel approach to mapping and identifying new targets, and it's called ambient noise tomography. It's a technology that we first discovered with Talon Metals in Michigan, and Elon Musk brought this to the table. And it's basically I guess sonar mapping would be the best way to describe it. They put these geodes on the property. Pulse goes down, the sound pulse goes down into the ground, goes down 2,000 meters, comes back as a sound map, and then they take those sound maps and correlate it to your hard drilling data, your IP and your downhole EM. And you can imagine, like, say, for example, on that 40-hole space where we had 1.6% of nickel, well, that's going to correlate to a specific sound map. There'll be a signature there. So we know that signature is sort of massive sulfides. So we'll start to look for those signatures both below that current river of nickel, because often rivers of nickel are stacked, and then along the sequence of the 5 or 6 kilometers of strike we've got that's open-ended. And maybe there's more signatures, and that'll be, we'll overlay that over the downhole EM and over the airborne EM, and all of a sudden concentric circles will form. Those will be the highest likeliest targets for us.
Wow.
And it's all about reducing risk, right?
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. That'll be launching in early June. And then we got the metallurgy study that's going to come out as well. So some major, we've been working at this for a long time. So it just so happens it's all coming up in the next couple of months. So exciting time to be about for sure.
Thanks for your time, Terry. I appreciate it.
Great, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Okay, Terry Lynch, CEO of Power Nickel.